A courthouse cleanup required following a major water problem. Fort William First Nation officials grow impatient with a lack of swing bridge progress. And a new candidate steps forward seeking the city's top job.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay Police are remaining tight-lipped regarding their probe into an alleged sexual assault involving members of the University of Ottawa's hockey team.
The school has suspended the entire team following an incident that's believed to have occurred here in Thunder Bay on the weekend of February 1st when the Ottawa GGs were in town playing a pair of games against Lakehead University. Ryan Bonazzo has more on a story that's gaining national attention.
It's being reported by Ottawa media as a gang sexual assault involving multiple members of the Ottawa GGs hockey team while they were in Thunder Bay last month to play a pair of games against the Thunderwolves. Police spokesperson Chris Adams says local authorities became aware of the situation by way of a third-party complaint, which was brought to officers last Tuesday. But he refuses to go into specifics about the incident, offering only that police are investigating members of the Ottawa team.
We are looking at all of the parties who were involved, and that right now is the members of the Ottawa hockey team. I'm not going to speculate on the incident itself. I will say that we are following up through the Ottawa Police Service, and we'll be working with all the involved parties.
Police aren't releasing any details about the identity of the victim. Adams won't even confirm whether the person is a female or male. The same goes for the third party who reported the incident. He insists it's crucial to protect their identities. Adams says they're working with the victim, although he refused to specifically comment on multiple media reports suggesting the victim was not cooperating with the investigation. Meanwhile, an official with Lakehead University says the school has not been contacted by the police. Ryan Bonazzo, TBT News.
Thunder Bay Police were on the scene of a serious collision involving a school bus this afternoon. The mishap occurred just after 3 o'clock on May Street between Bethune and Leith Streets. The bus collided with a pickup, and according to city police, the driver of the truck suffered injuries and was sent to hospital. Fortunately, none of the children on the school bus were injured, but a few of them were checked out by paramedics for bumps and bruises. May Street was shut down for about an hour as officers investigated the crash. Still no word on what caused the collision or whether any charges are pending.
Thunder Bay's new consolidated courthouse was the scene of a sprinkler malfunction this weekend. Friday night, the sprinklers in the main floor mezzanine were triggered, causing a large amount of water to flood the area. Restoration crews from First General Services were on scene all weekend, removing water and damaged materials. First General officials say the cleanup is expected to take another day or two. The courthouse is in the final stages of construction and is scheduled to open this spring. Plenary Group spokesperson Olivia McCangus says their insurance adjusters are now on site and assessing the damage, but she says it's too soon to tell how much flood damage was caused or if the opening date will be impacted.
Fort William First Nation officials are putting pressure on CN Rail and the federal government to reopen the James Street Swing Bridge. Chief Georgianne Morisseau, Councillor Wyatt Bannon, and Property Management Director Ian Bannon met face-to-face with CN officials in Edmonton last week. The meeting was a chance to present their concerns to CN directly and establish a confirmed strategy moving forward. Ian Bannon says they are still waiting to receive the results of CN's engineering report, which is scheduled for release at the end of this month. Right now, CN has deemed the state of the bridge very unsafe, and therefore the company will not consider a short-term opening of any kind in the near future. Despite that, Bannon says he's pleased with how the meetings went and says things are moving in the right direction.
The report is still outstanding from CN, and they are still waiting to receive that document. Once they receive the documents, Fort William has been told that CN will be reviewing the results of that document directly with Fort William. And hopefully from there, we will be able to establish a short-term plan, hopefully, with access across the swing bridge, of course.
In the meantime, Chief Morisseau will be meeting with the Ministry of Transportation to try and implement safety changes at the corner of Highway 61 and Chippewa Road.
Outspoken City Hall critic Henry Wojak attempted to file his nomination papers to run for mayor today, But Wojak currently has a trespass order against him and isn't allowed on City Hall property. That presented some challenges while filing his nomination papers. Wojak spoke with reporters on the sidewalk just outside of City Hall this afternoon. He says he intends to run for mayor in part because the city's operating costs are, quote, out of control. Council is set to ratify the 2014 budget tonight, and that's why Wojak wanted to submit his name for the mayor's chair today. But his wife, acting as his agent, was informed by City Clerk John Hannum that all of the necessary paperwork wasn't filled out. Some of those documents need to be signed by someone in the clerk's office, but Hannum says he doesn't conduct business on the sidewalk. Wojak says he'll take the necessary steps to run for mayor.
I would like to bring some integrity back into city politics, or in politics in general. There is no transparency nor accountability in our politicians today in my eye, and that is why I am putting in my application for mayor of the city of Thunder Bay.
This won't be the first time Wojak has run municipally. In 2010, he ran for councillor in Nebing Ward.
One of last year's major roads projects has come in over budget. That will affect some of the road work planned for this year. City Council will hear tonight that the first stage of the Golf Links 4-laning project is nearly $900,000 higher than anticipated. The construction work included the widening of the road between the Harbour Expressway and Oliver Road. The project also included new traffic signals at Central Avenue, as well as sidewalks and an active transportation trail. The work was one of the largest single road contracts ever awarded. City Manager Tim Camisso says the extra costs are associated with additional work near the Harbour Expressway intersection. Camisso adds most projects come close to the estimated cost.
Some come in under budget, and when we have projects that come in under budget, we have what's called capital carry forward money. So it normally goes back to where it was, but in this case we can use that to offset this. I think there's also two projects that were tentatively planned in the 2014 budget that'll have to get probably delayed a year.
Road projects on Leslie Street and Brown Street will be pushed back. The revised budget for Phase 1 is now $7.8 million. Camisso doesn't expect similar overruns with Phase 2 of the project between Olive Road and John Street. That's expected to get underway in the spring.
Officials with the City of Thunder Bay say they're excited to be hosting the Federation of Canadian Municipalities later this week. Main topics under discussion are expected to include the Building Canada Fund, rail safety, the next federal election, and a Canadian housing strategy. Mayor Keith Hobbs says other municipalities will be looking at Thunder Bay as the city is investing $40 million in infrastructure this year. The meetings start Wednesday and wrap up Saturday. The event coincides with National Women's Day, so special attention will be paid to women in politics.
Nations research says that there should be at least 30% women in any political body for women's perspectives and issues to be heard. And in Canada, we only have about 25% in any order of government.
Well, I think the movement, Women in Politics, that started actually in Thunder Bay is a good thing. Like Councillor Ridholm said, if you don't have 30% representation, then women's issues aren't going to be brought to the fore.
Those meetings are to be held behind closed doors, but Saturday's panel discussion for Women in Politics will be open to the public.
A 24-year-old Thunder Bay man is dead after a 3-vehicle collision on Highway 11 between Hearst and Longlac yesterday. The man's pickup hit the side of an oncoming tractor trailer, then collided head-on with a second transport. The female passenger in the pickup was taken to hospital in Hearst with non-life-threatening injuries. The accident caused the highway to close for over 10 hours. The man's identity is being withheld pending notification of next of kin.
And Thunder Bay police have charged a 34-year-old man with impaired driving and dangerous driving causing bodily harm after an auto pedestrian collision last night on the city's south side. Police say a woman was sent to the regional hospital with serious injuries after a vehicle backed over her near the corner of McKellar and Miles Streets. The driver remains in police custody.
A 10-month-old infant was sent to hospital last night following a house fire on the city's south side. Thunder Bay Fire Rescue responded to a blaze just after 10 o'clock on the 300 block of South Archibald Street. At the time fire crews arrived, all the occupants had already been evacuated. The fire was determined to have started in the basement apartment, which sustained medium damage. The 3 upper floor apartments required ventilation, but the tenants were able to return. The infant was sent to hospital due to smoke inhalation. The basement apartment has been secured, and the investigation continues.
Meanwhile, a house fire that occurred on Ogden Street around a month ago could result in a young family losing their home and forcing them to declare bankruptcy. A A family friend has now started a campaign to help them salvage their house. Rochelle El-Soufi has that story.
Ashley Kavari and her 2 young girls managed to escape the house fire without any injuries, but according to her father, the young family lost almost everything they owned.
She had a candle going, and she heard the children, playing, and they got a little ruckus, so she went downstairs, and she was dealing with the children, and next thing she knows, she heard the fire alarm going off.
Fire crews were able to contain the fire to 1 bedroom, but there was smoke and heat damage to the rest of the 2nd floor. After the fire, Ashley and her partner Aaron Babula soon discovered that their house insurance had lapsed, meaning they were left with 0 coverage.
The kids are crying because they were scared. Ashley and Aaron are crying because they don't know if they're going to be able to keep their home, if they're going to lose their home, where they're going to end up.
Family friend Sherry Appleton says they have raised $1,400, but they still have a long way to go. Bills have already added up, and the house is still not restored up to livable conditions.
The rafters are open, there's no insulation, there's no ceiling, there's no walls in the master bedroom. We had the electricity reconnected and the heat put back on in the house.
Work on the house has totaled almost $10,000 already. The couple is trying to refinance with the bank as their mortgage is almost due.
They have to have somebody come back in and reevaluate the house and the value in the house because there was a fire.
Refinancing to cover to costs requires the value to be about $20,000, which is more than the original price. As it stands now, there is nothing to evaluate. If they don't raise $13,000, they will lose their house on March the 12th. Family friend Sherry Appleton has opened up an account called the Ashley and Aaron House Fire Fund at the Northern Credit Union. The young couple is also collecting donations of building materials like drywall and windows, household items like dressers, bedding, and towels, as well as time from anyone to help rebuild their home. Rochelle El-Soufi, TBT News.
Well, the numbers are in, and St. Ignatius is the city's top high school. That's according to results released by the Fraser Institute. The school scored 7.5 out of 10 on the annual rankings and tied for 133rd in the province. Hammersholt High School came in second with a 6.6 rating, followed by Sir Winston Churchill with a score of 6.3. The rankings are based on scores from the annual province-wide literacy and math tests, along with other criteria. However, both school boards don't put much weight into the results.
On where they ranked, because that's not part of the practice that we use. We certainly don't rank our schools internally, and we don't believe that EQAO data, in fact, EQAO itself, I spoke directly with the director of EQAO, Bruce Rodriguez, that the information that is used to rank schools, that was not what the intention of EQAO data was for.
It's just one of many useful tools that we use to determine some of the gaps that there are in learning. It's just one tool. We don't discount it, but we understand that the rankings are not significant to us.
As for the other 4 high schools in Thunder Bay, St. Patrick's scored 6.2, Westgate and Superior Collegiate both scored a 5.4, and La Vérendrye received a 3, leaving them in 698th place in the province out of 740 schools. Residents at Isabella Retirement Living had a very special guest today. 2-time Olympian Haley Irwin paid them a visit, and she brought along her latest gold medal from Sochi. Phil Darlington has the story.
Gold medal in hand, the room lit up as Haley Irwin came to visit the residents of the Isabella Retirement Living. She hasn't even been back in her hometown a full week, but Irwin has been busy visiting different parts of the community.
I don't know when it fully sinks in. I can't remember last time from Vancouver. I think it takes a while, but I think every time you hear a story from someone out in the community about where they were and what it meant to them, I think a little bit at a time it starts to sink in.
Irwin's great aunt lives at the home. She was cheering Haley and the Canadian team on during the gold medal game, so Haley made sure it was one of her stops.
At the end of the second period, somebody said, "What do you think, Ruth?" I said, "I'm not giving up now." Boy, wasn't that a surprise?
Since getting back to Thunder Bay, Haley has had some downtime. She's visited a few hockey teams, given them some motivational speeches, got a chance to catch up with her friends, and also visit a few retirement homes to share her experience and just to hear a few congratulations and converse with people in the city.
You know, to hear them say that, you know, it kind of puts you in your spot for a second, and you understand how lucky, you know, I have been to be able to play sports and to play a game that not only I love, but this nation loves. So I consider myself very lucky, and, you know, to grow the women's game in Canada and all over the world is something that we try and do every day.
My daughter, when she was younger, wanted to play hockey so bad, and here's Haley running hockey school for the girls. My daughter wanted to play so bad they never let the girls in, and she picketed the men's hockey school when she was like 10 or 12 because she wanted to play hockey so bad. So Kaylee is a really good example of what the girls can do now.
Irwin and the gold medal's next stop will be at the Chartwell Select Retirement Home on Wednesday. Phil Darlington, TBT News.